The wedding that changed everything. I never imagined my sister's wedding would be the day my entire world shifted. Looking back, the first red flag should have been the invitation. It arrived just 3 days before the ceremony. In gold script, it read, "Kitchen staff entrance only." An elegant arrow pointed mockingly toward the back of the venue. That was Victoria. She'd always been the golden child. While I chose a modest life, teaching underprivileged kids, she clawed her way up the corporate ladder in designer heels. Our parents never let me forget the difference. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" Mum would sigh, her eyes lingering on Victoria's flawless nails and sparkling ring. "She's marrying James Anderson, CEO of Anderson Industries. And what do you have to show for yourself?" They never understood. My little apartment and my battered Honda might not impress them, but the joy of watching my students finally understand a lesson was worth more than any penthouse or promotion. Still, Victoria was my sister, so I went. I wore my best dress, simple, elegant in its own way, and drove to the Grand Plaza Hotel. But when I tried to enter through the front doors, the security guard looked at my invitation and barked, "Service entrance only." Shame burned through me as I walked past steaming trays and clattering dishes through the hotel's bustling kitchen. A hostess finally led me to a table shoved behind a massive pillar, practically hidden. "I'm sorry," she whispered, "but your sister was very specific. Family members who might embarrass the couple must be kept out of sight." My hands trembled as I sat. My table was set with plastic utensils, while everywhere else glittered with fine china. Next to the fork lay a handwritten note in Victoria's familiar cursive. "Know your place, little sister. Don't ruin this for me." I should have left, walked out and never looked back. But something in me, maybe the same stubborn streak that led me to teaching instead of chasing money, kept me rooted in that chair. The ceremony began. From my corner, I watched Victoria glide down the aisle in a gown that probably cost more than my yearly salary. At the altar stood James Anderson, CEO, polished and handsome as a magazine cover, but his expression looked strained. Then he saw me, and in that instant, James Anderson did something no one expected. He dropped the wedding ring. The golden band rolled across the marble aisle and stopped right at my feet. As I bent to pick it up, memories came flooding back. 15 years ago, he wasn't James Anderson, billionaire CEO. He was Jaime, just a 22-year-old grad student who came into the Boston coffee shop where I worked. Always black coffee, no sugar. We spent 6 beautiful months together. He dreamed of building an ethical company that would change the world. I dreamed of shaping young minds. Together, we imagined starting a foundation, combining his business vision with my passion for teaching. And now here he was, my sister's groom. And then, he vanished. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. A year later, I saw his face on the glossy pages of a magazine. James Anderson, heir to Anderson Industries, engaged to a wealthy socialite. Now, 15 years later, he was staring at me like he'd seen a ghost. "Jamie," I whispered, holding out the ring. The color drained from his face. Victoria frowned, her voice dripping with disdain. "James, darling, you know my pathetic little sister?" But James wasn't looking at her. His eyes were locked on my hand, on the small silver band I still wore, engraved with the words "To my Emma, who taught me what really matters." Emma. His voice cracked. In that single word, I heard 15 years of regret. Victoria's voice sharpened. "James, what's going on?" Before he could answer, a commanding voice thundered from the front row. Richard Anderson Sr., James's father, founder of Anderson Industries, rose to his feet. His face was dark with fury. "Son," he barked, his words echoing across the hushed hall, "tell me this isn't the same Emma." James squared his shoulders. For a brief moment, I saw the Jamie I had loved, the dreamer who wanted to change the world. "Yes, father," he said, voice ringing with defiance. "This is Emma, the woman you paid $5 million to disappear." The room erupted, gasps, whispers, phones lifted to record. Victoria's perfect wedding was unraveling. "$5 million, I whispered, numb. "You paid me to disappear," Richard sneered. "I paid your mother. She promised you'd never see James again, said it was for the best." My breath caught, memories flashed, the sudden transfer to another university, the mysterious money in my college account, my mother's endless reminders that Jamie was out of my league. "You knew?" I whispered, turning to her. Her jeweled hands twisted in her lap. "It was for your own good," she snapped. "Look at you." A teacher scraping by in a tiny apartment. James needed someone who belonged in his world. Victoria was perfect. James's laugh cut through the tension, bitter, sharp. Perfect? For the company's image, maybe. just like that socialite you threw at me after Emma was gone. You've been orchestrating my relationships for 15 years. Did you tell Victoria about that too, Father?" Victoria's face twisted with rage. "James, surely you're not comparing my worthless sister to me. Look at her dress. It's not even designer." James's eyes softened as they met mine. "No, it's handmade. Emma always said the most valuable things are created with love, not money." He gave me a faint smile. "You still make your own clothes?" I swallowed hard, nodding. He remembered. "This is absurd," Richard thundered. "James, you have responsibilities." "The merger with Victoria's father's company," James cut him off, voice cold. "A business deal. That's what this wedding is about?" Victoria paled. "Deal? What do you mean?" James turned on her, sharp as glass. "Your father's company is failing. This marriage was supposed to save it. That's why he pushed you toward me, isn't it?" Victoria's father shot up, red-faced. "Now see here." But James raised his hand. From his tuxedo jacket, he drew out a slim USB drive. "I found some interesting documents last week, Father, about what really happened 15 years ago, about the real reason you wanted Emma gone." Richard Anderson's face went ashen. But James's voice carried, steady and unyielding. "Emma wasn't just my girlfriend. She was also volunteering at a youth center in South Boston, a center that was scheduled to be demolished, to make room for one of our developments. A development that would have displaced hundreds of families. I remembered it clearly, the protests, the late-night meetings, the flyers we handed out on street corners. Back then, Jamie had stood beside me. He even talked about alternative sites, about doing better. James's voice carried through the silent ballroom. Emma was organizing the community. She was good at it, too good. The press started paying attention. If that project failed, Anderson Industries would have lost millions. Worse, the company's reputation would have been shattered. That's why she had to go, isn't that right, Father? Richard collapsed into his chair, grey and shaking. "So you paid her mother to make her disappear?" James pressed, his voice like ice. "You erased our relationship, bought off her transfer, even donated to her new university to smooth it all over. Every detail, arranged." Richard muttered, "I did what was necessary. For the company." James gave a bitter laugh. "The company that's now mine." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Yes," he continued, facing the stunned guests. "As of last week, I'm the majority shareholder. Father signed control over as an early wedding gift." Ironic, isn't it? Victoria let out a strangled cry, but James ignored her. He crossed the marble aisle and stopped in front of me. "Emma," he said softly, "I spent 15 years believing you abandoned me. 15 years breaking myself to be the son he wanted. Then I found the documents. I was going to end this wedding anyway. But then," his smile was wry, "then I saw your name on the guest list. Seated with the kitchen staff, of course. Victoria always did love her drama." He turned to my sister, his voice sharp. "The wedding's off. And Victoria, you might want to check your father's books before he arranges another merger." Victoria screamed and hurled her bouquet. It missed us and shattered a tower of champagne flutes. James raised his voice above the chaos. "As my first act as CEO, Anderson Industries will create a $100 million foundation for education in underserved communities." Then his gaze softened as it found mine. "And we'll need a director who understands both teaching and community organizing. Interested?" My mother shot to her feet, all smiles. "Emma, darling, I always knew you had potential." "Save it," I cut her off. "You've helped enough for one lifetime." I turned back to James. "This job, does it come with a corner office?" He grinned. "Only if you'll have dinner with me first. There's a little coffee shop in Boston I'd like to take you back to." Victoria shrieked, "Daddy, do something." But her father was already bolting from the room, phone pressed to his ear. Richard Anderson Sr. struggled to his feet, trembling. "Son, think about what you're doing." "I have, Father, for 15 years. James slipped his hand into mine. "This company needs more than profits. It needs purpose, less greed, more responsibility. Emma always said, the measure of success isn't how much money you make, but how many lives you improve." I barely heard the rest. My eyes were on the silver ring I'd never taken off, the one Hamie had given me all those years ago. "You kept it," he whispered, brushing his thumb across the band. "You came back," I replied. 6 months later, the Anderson Education Foundation had already funded 50 community programs. Victoria married a minor European prince who, ironically, believed in socialist policies. My parents suddenly discovered a passion for charity work, though somehow their invitations to foundation galas kept getting lost in the mail. Richard Anderson Sr. retired to Italy. To everyone's shock, He sent me a handwritten apology. I framed it beside the newspaper article announcing the foundation's launch. As for James and me, we still visit that Boston coffee shop. He still orders black coffee, no sugar. But now when we talk about changing the world, we actually do it. The small silver ring on my hand finally has a companion. A simple gold band engraved, "To my Emma, who taught me what really matters." Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about building the life they said you couldn't.